week's champion trends feature Draven, Jarvan, Syndra, Corki, Elise, and Shyvana. I'm Lindsay with Zam, and this is LolKing's League Trends. Let's dive into Summoner's Rift. The increases in pick rate this week are headed up by Riven, with Wukong, Diana, Tryndamere, and Draven rounding out the top 5. Welcome to the League of Draven. I love saying that. This glorious executioner has made it to the top 5 most increased in pick rate this week, alongside some other unusuals like my girl Diana, but I think the new Lunar Goddess skin had a lot to do with that. Much petals. Wow. We see a lot of Jinx, Lucian, and Caitlyn right now in the ADC role, but you should never forget about the Draven. Draven's axes will still outtrade almost any other carries at early levels. Even though he lost his bleeding effect from his passive, his new passive, League of Draven, has shown its usefulness in several competitive matches. We have seen Draven players stack their passive to hundreds of stacks, and when they get a kill, they gain over 1,000 gold. This gold spike translates into a power spike, which allows Draven to gain a lead over the enemy carry. Having a whole item over your opponent can give you the edge to win teamfights and snowball to victory. Champions with the largest decrease in pick rate for the past week were led by Vi, followed by Jarvan, Renekton, Kha'Zix, and Rengar. Today is not a good day to die, Jarvan, because your pick rate has been dropping. For the majority of Season 3, Jarvan was one of the most played junglers, but after the radius reduction on his knockup, players have been dropping him like a clingy prom date. Champions like Elise and Lee Sin have become more prioritized due to how strong they are in the early game and their ability to outduel other champions in the jungle. Jarvan isn't terrible, he's just getting outshined. The feels, bro. He still provides strong ganks and lends himself to a good teamfight presence with Cataclysm. In the early game, Jarvan is able to bypass wards with his EQ combo by hopping over walls, which he can then turn into a gank for an unsuspecting enemy player. He can still be used to combo with champions like Orianna and Rumble to make get really real. Following are the champs with the largest increase in win rate. Kog'Maw heads the list, followed by Syndra, Xin Zhao, Rammus, and Garen. It feels like Syndra has been in this spot multiple times, and with good reason. Her Dark Spheres make her really hard to lane against, and because she can spam that ability, she's a great lane bully. And don't even think about that minion wave, buddy. She'll push you away with Scatter of the Weak. Syndra can excel at zoning the opponent away while you are taking an objective like Dragon. While being strong in the early levels, she also gains the ability to burst someone when she reaches level 6. Unleashed Power uses all the Dark Spheres you have laying around and bursts the enemy with a quick succession of magic damage. I think there's a ball joke in there somewhere. Comboed up with someone like Vi and Caitlyn, you can almost guarantee a kill for your team. One of the reasons that we don't see Syndra often is because she's a really high-skilled champion, and it takes a lot of practice for an individual to master her balls. There we go. Best ball joke NA. Our next top 5 champions are heading up the largest decrease in win rate for this past week. Corki is up first, followed by Maokai, Alistar, Misfortune, and Karma. Corki was considered to be one of the strongest carriers after the buff to the Trinity Force. Soon after his dominance at the Season 3 World Championships, he received some changes to his kit. Previously, Corki would almost always win trades in lane due to his Phosphorus Bomb, then auto-attack combo. Because Phosphorus Bomb has no cast time, it made it incredibly hard for the enemy to trade back in lane. When Corki's Q finally did receive a cast time, it made the ability awkward to use and easily dodged by the opponents. These changes, along with the rise of Lucian, Jinx, and Sivir, really made Corki a weak pick. Everyone's out being top-tier ADCs while he's just sitting there. Champs with an increase in ban rate for this week are led up by Yasuo, followed by Vi, Elise, Gragas, and Kayle. The Spider Queen is here yet once again with more bans focusing on her 8 skinny, creepy legs. Ew. Elise has been highly contested ever since she crawled out of top lane and into the jungle. In the current state of the game, Elise can be considered the strongest jungler of Season 4. Due to her burst from her percent health abilities, she's nearly impossible to outduel in the jungle. Elise also has a really easy time clearing the jungle because of the percent health damage, as well as the sustain from her spiders. Her spiders can even tank the jungle monsters for her so she can gank with a healthy amount of HP. If she is able to land her cocoon on a target, it may as well be GG. Because of her insane early game damage and ganks, she is often banned or first picked in competitive play all around the world. Typically, junglers favor Spirit of the Ancient Golem on her to give her a bit of tankiness, and then focus on Haunting Guise for the extra burst damage in the mid-game. Finally, the decrease in ban rate this week is led up by Shyvana, with Dr. Mundo, Evelynn, Nasus, and Annie rounding out our final top 5 for this week. After Shyvana received the nerfs to her overall damage, her ban rate dropped significantly. These nerfs were kinda necessary as she was able to build full tank and yet still do significant amounts of damage in team fights. Totally not fair, right? Please. The nerf mainly targeted her early laning phase. Burnout's damage got reduced by a maximum of 35. But don't let the nerfs tell you that Shyvana is not a relevant champion anymore. Other top lane monsters like Dr. Mundo and Renekton become more of a priority simply because they were left untouched. Shyvana can still bully Dr. Mundo and even shut him down when rushing Blade of the Ruined King, but Dr. Mundo will have a much easier time dealing with her now. Shyvana works especially well in compositions with Orianna and Lulu because Shyvana is able to reach the backline of the enemy team and allow them to use their abilities to the full effect. Dragons, guys, just don't piss them off. And that's it for this week's show. Please be sure to subscribe to LolKing on YouTube to keep up on these league trends. And be sure to subscribe to Cloth5 on YouTube for more great analysis. I'm Lindsay. Thanks for watching.